She stirs the cauldron.
And good evening. We've got another episode of The Witch and the Wise Man. I am D.E. Riley, the Wise Man, and this beautiful lady sitting next to me is
Tonya Steinborn, the witch.
Tonya Steinborn. How are you, Tonya? Still cold up there, right? Yeah. There's not even any conversation anymore. It's like, fuck it, I'm cold and I'm done with it.
Still winter.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll go away soon and we'll get into springtime and all the joys that it comes with warm weather and sunshine, because I am so looking forward to it right now. Okay, tonight, today, whatever it is where you're at, we're going to be talking about God. Is God something that actually exists? Or is it something we created to explain existence? And you go even deeper than that. Are we arguing about the same thing? Because two different people talking about God can actually be talking about two completely different things. So that's where we're at. Is God a
This is a
real
hot topic. Is
it real?
People fight wars over this shit.
I have news for you, young lady. More people have died because of God than they have any other reason in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
There have been more killed because of religion than anything else. So now we have to start looking at this subjectively, do you look at it as God as a being, or as a myth, or as just a way to make us feel comfortable in an infinite universe that we're floating around in? Some way to explain it. What do you think? What is your take on God?
Well,
let's get real. Do you believe in God?
Not in the traditional sense, no. No, I believe that most people on the planet worship gods, little g, not big G. There's lots of different gods.
Right.
But I don't believe in that version.
Okay.
My belief is more of something less human, like how most of the world religions have a god-like being, a sky god, like a man in the sky,
a central figure. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I don't really necessarily subscribe to that.
Okay.
So I that's tough. I'm still defining it myself, to be honest.
I don't think there is a definition. I honestly do not think. I think it is something that is subject to the person. Does that make sense? It's your belief.
Like your own personal belief.
It's your own personal belief. I mean, you can't get Baptists to agree on the same thing. You can't get Mormons to agree on the same. It doesn't matter what religion you're looking at. All religions, if you're talking about religion now, if you're diving into the God religions, they may believe in different gods, but they all believe in one central figure or one central entity as the God, Personally, I don't. I haven't.
At all?
At all. No. I don't believe that there is an all-seeing, all-knowing, all-empowered being out there somewhere that is not in control of everything. I would like to say they're in control. If somebody was in control, it would be different. But this planet is like running on autopilot right now. And it is so people and beliefs and traditions are so out of control right now and so off the chart that it almost feels like we are sitting on the verge of self-destruction because we can't figure out what's going on. And, I think if you travel back in time to the earliest of our civilization, um, because I believe there's been several civilizations here before us, but if you look at the early history of our civilization, they didn't have the science, they didn't have the knowledge, they didn't have the any way to investigate anything, so they needed somebody to blame it on, not blame it on, to say that they're responsible for this. So how did this get here? Well, God put it here. It's God's
Right.
will. It's God's power. It's God's. I have
Yeah.
yet to find anything that cannot be explained through logic. Except one, and I'm not even going to go into that right now because that's between you and me, and we know what I'm talking about. But we're talking about God right now. But
Yeah, see,
oh, you think I'm funny? I can No, I'm glad I entertain you. It's
yeah,
a
no,
weird topic. I mean, it really is when you get right down to it. When you get down to it, trying to explain God, and I know preachers. I know clergymen very well. I have nothing against them. That's fine. They can do whatever they want to do, but they can't even explain it. He's just the all being, the all knowing. And that's, I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I just don't get it.
well, I definitely don't believe in the religious God at all, and but I do believe in a divine creator because things are just so intricate and complex. I don't think that there isn't a creator behind it. Do you think that this particular planet is based on duality, is based on good and evil, positive, negative, masculine, feminine? And that's part of why we're here is to experience separation and duality. And that in itself is the purpose. And for me to think that there's not something bigger than us out there, I just can't um, accept that, I guess.
Well, and that's fine. I mean, you have to find comfort in your beliefs and what you believe in. And that's, I don't have a problem with that from anybody. I really don't. Um, like I said not too long ago, whatever gets you through today and into tomorrow is great. I'm glad. I hope you find happiness. I hope you find peace, and I hope you find comfort in whatever it is. Me personally, on those three notes, have found all of that without believing that there is a higher power or a higher life form or somebody who's not in control of it. I can't say somebody who's in control. I just can't because it is so out of control. This world is so out of control. The universe
But
is
what if
so
that's the
random.
point? But what if that's the point?
How could it be the point? What are you going to get out of it? What?
Well, think about it. Like for soul development to go through what we do in this human experience is intense. Like, even look at it compared to when you meet somebody who's had a life that's been very surface level. They haven't had a lot of challenges. Things seem to always go their way. They've had a soft life. Let's put it that way. And then you meet another person who's had trial and tribulation and overcome so much. Their depth, their compassion, who they are on a really deep level, on a soul level, is so different than somebody who's had a soft life. So even if you look at it in the human terms, like the human experience, who you become through all these challenges has developed your personality, your intelligence, your soul, your heart in a way that a soft, easy life could never do. So if we're looking at expanding our consciousness and growing on a soul level, this this plane, this earth plane, it's the trenches. it's like it's like fast enlightenment.
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at the person with the, as you put it, soft life,
Yeah.
they're not going to have the character, the growth that you would have if you hadn't had that struggle, if you hadn't have to work for and fight for everything in your life, then you're just going to take that for granted. You're not even really going to admit that that's part of reality because it's not your reality. It's not your reality at all. You know, your
Yeah.
reality is, you know, Jeeves over here brings you a drink when you're sitting by the pool and you don't have to worry about bills and you don't have to worry about this or cars breaking down or any of that stuff, a roof over your head, et cetera, food on the table, whatever. But if you're out there in the trenches and you're, you know, you're fighting daily to get all this stuff like I do and have, and I'm sure you have also, um, then to me, that's you building your character, making yourself stronger, making yourself work towards being the best person that you could possibly be. And I don't see anywhere in there where anyone that goes by the title of God can play into that at all. That
But what if we
I
are
haven't
God?
had that. I haven't experienced that. And I've been down that road. I've been on that religious road before. I've spent time there, and you have too, I know. But, you know, I've spent time there and I got absolutely nothing from it. Nothing. Zip. You know, so it's like, well, if I'm doing all the work and I'm getting all the outcome and I'm doing all this myself, then where's this other being at? Where is this mysterious entity that's supposed to make my life better? It's not here. It doesn't exist. I've done all this myself with my own two hands. And it doesn't matter if I worshiped or not, it has no bearing on it at all. And I definitely don't believe in a heaven or a hell or anything like that. That's all blah blah to me. You know, it's
Well,
just nonsense. It's just nonsense. That's all it is. I don't believe you die. I don't believe you go to heaven. I don't believe you go to hell. I don't buy any of that. I think that's
no,
just a way to scare you into believing in something.
that's control.
It
And that's
is.
built by religions that are built around this Abrahamic God, which I don't believe in. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about
Okay.
something so much bigger than we can even comprehend.
Okay. So one person put it like this: God equals nature.
Said what?
God equals nature. It's not a being, it's everything that exists.
Exactly.
That's God. Now,
Have you
okay.
ever felt the divine
Have I ever felt?
or something holy or something
No,
spiritual
no,
in that way?
no.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
I have.
No, that's why I don't follow that belief or that direction because as much as I was in it at one time, it did literally nothing for me except scare the shit out of me. That's all they try
Yeah,
to
that's
do is scare
religion.
the hell out of me, to make me
Yeah.
believe this way. You're going to be like this. You're going to do this. Well, why do I have to believe that? Well, it says so in the Bible. It's a book. That means nothing to me. That's just words on a page. Look, I've got that right here, right in front of me. Words on a page, It doesn't mean anything.
Well, I don't think the divine exists in religion at all.
So what are they doing? Mind control?
It's about control, 100%.
I can buy
It's
that.
opium for the masses. Who said that? Remember we talked about that before. That quote, that's
Marx.
opium
Karl
for the
Marx.
masses.
Karl Marx.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I believe religion serves a purpose for people who don't want to do the work, really.
Mm-hmm.
They just want a handbook, be told what to do, live kind of surface level, live a certain way that they think their soul is going to survive after this.
Right.
And carry on their day. But then there's people like you and myself that need more than that. We need to experience it. We need to have our own testimony to what that is.
Right. And yeah, I definitely believe in the things I've experienced, and I've experienced some weird shit in my life. But that's something I can sink my teeth into. I've been there. I've done that. I felt that. I've seen things that I can't explain, but I can't throw that over into the God category. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah, and
I
I don't
can't.
call it God either. I get what you're saying, because I believe that the God that most people are worshiping is basically an evil alien. So that's another topic.
Okay. Let's let's look at another angle. Okay. Let's remove the word God out of everything. Just pull it out.
Yeah.
How are you going to explain the stuff that God does now?
I've always referred to it as, like, when I'm speaking to people, I usually say God, universe, source, because that kind of covers that topic of what creator, what this is, what the purpose is, who created all this, the spirit, the feeling that we get, that there's something more than the flesh, than the physical, right? To me, there's so much more than the physical. Like our bodies deteriorate, our physic, like, within yourself, like, I don't remember not existing.
No one
And I
does.
don't feel inside old. Like, I look in the mirror and I see I'm aging, but, like, inside my soul, I don't feel that.
Right. I have
It's my physical that's telling me you're aging, it's deteriorating. This is our vessel. It's the physical side of things. But we have so much more to us that's proven, like energy, right?
Sure.
Our biofield. What's our biofield? What's our energy?
We are that energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. But oh man, this gets way deep. This gets way deep because and it's like I talked about at one time. You break all this shit down. You get down to the very heart of existence. Everything is made up of atoms. Atoms are made up of subatomic particles. Subatomic particles are made up of energy. What does energy look like? What does it look like? Give me a description of energy. You can't.
Of energy?
It's invisible.
Yeah.
So is this a reality or is this just an illusion? That's the big question. Now, God, let me know. You figure that one out. Explain it to me, because the way that I see it is when you're done with this body, and believe me, this one's about used up, I'm going to move on to another one. I'm leaving this one and I'm going somewhere else. And it ain't heaven and it ain't hell. It's another existence at another time, possibly another dimension. Okay. You don't die. Your energy continues on forever. It doesn't stop. I don't believe in the Big Bang of the universe. I don't believe the universe was ever created. The universe has been here always. Now, that'll blow your mind if you stop and think about it late at night when you're laying in bed and you can't go to sleep, that this universe that we're in has always been here. It wasn't created, it's just been. And that is hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, because we are in a planet of life and death, of beginnings and endings. So it's hard for us to wrap around our thoughts that the fact that something doesn't have a beginning or an end.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything here on this plane does.
That's the way we are brought up. That's the way we can only understand things. If you have two numbers and you add them together, you get another number. You get the beginning and the end. That's where it starts. That's where it stops. That's the way humans like to look at things. This is the beginning. This is the end. I'm not finished till I get here. I started here, but I'm not finished till I get here. So if I'm not there yet, I got a lot of more work to do. So I keep pushing myself towards that goal. I keep pushing myself towards that hole in the ground or that furnace or wherever you're going when this shell kicks out, you know.
Yep.
But I think the whole of the matter is if you step back and look at it, God is not out here. God is in here. You are
Exactly.
God. You are the one that creates your universe, your existence, your reality, the way you see things, the way you address things, the way you act towards people, the way you act towards kids and dogs and cats. And that's what keeps this whole mess working, is that people are their own God. They just don't realize it. They just don't get it. They don't understand that. And
We are the creators.
They can't get into that whole belief and concept that you're God. You know, you control your life, you control your universe, and you control the outcome. That's you. Nothing is up to chance. Nothing is God's will. Nothing is up to somebody else to figure out what to do. You've got to do it, and you have to control your life. And if you don't believe that, and you believe that there is a higher source and a higher power, fine. That's your belief. You know, don't go pushing it on me because I don't feel that way. I don't think there's enough people that realize that they're in control. They don't want to be in control. That's too hard. That's way too hard. You know?
It's accountability.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, I take full responsibility for everything I do and say. Everything. I don't blame it on anybody else. That's my thoughts, my ideas, my actions. It's my fault. And I will be the first to admit it. I've grown enough in my life to say, yeah, I fucked up, you know, so sorry, I'll fix it. And, you know, I'll go about fixing it. I don't want to go through this world harming people or causing any problems or anything like that. But I have discovered that I'm the one in control. And this is my reality. And you're in my reality. I may not be in yours, but you're in mine. You know, it's weird. Start thinking about physics and all that shit and just drive you nuts. But you know, I just don't see an all-seeing, all-knowing creator that's done anything in my life at all. Ever. You know? So sorry, I'm not buying words on a page to make me believe in something that you have no evidence. There is none. Prove it. I might buy it, but nobody's proven it to me yet. So,
well, and I think that's that's where, for me, I separate the divine, whatever that is. I don't know what it I don't think we're meant to know. Not here anyway. We have amnesia when we come here. So
Well, it's I don't know. And like I said, this is probably one of the biggest questions and topics ever. Um, because people argue about something where there is no proof. All you're standing on is your belief in something. And you and I talked about this not too long ago. It's what you believe in. So you're standing on a belief, though there's no proof. And I'm standing on my belief, but I got proof. I just don't see how you can believe in literally nothing. All they're doing is trying to make you feel good on a Sunday. For the most part, that's all I'm getting out of the whole religious thing. And I'm sorry if I'm offending you or anyone else. I apologize. I don't mean to. I'm trying to have an intelligent conversation. I'm
yeah.
letting my mouth run amok, and a lot of times it gets me into trouble, just like it did before we started. So, I, let me explain this to you guys. We came on before we came on the in recording. Tonya came on. Now, Tonya, as I have said before, is probably the hardest working lady I've ever met in my life. She has like 23 different jobs on top of being a mom and, trying to eke out a life in the frozen north in Nova Scotia, where she's at, which, by the way, is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. And, yeah, she comes on and she's got the big coat on, her hair is kind of messed up a little bit.
Disheveled.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, you're still beautiful. But she sits down and I was, wow, you look like you had a tough day. And she looks at me and she goes, yeah, just what a lady wants to hear. I was like, oh man. So yes, there God had no control over that remark. That was all me. So, I'm a silver tongued devil. I am not,
Yeah.
and never claimed to be.
Yeah.
But it's just I don't blame or the fuck. Oh, I didn't have that turned off. I apologize for that. Hang on just one second. Let me shut this down. But I don't look to put the excuse on anybody of my actions and what I do in the course of my life. Everything I've done is either I get the credit for it or I get the blame for it, one of the two, but it's always been me. And
Yeah, and I think being accountable for your own soul's journey is something that religion misses. Because they do have, well, it's God's will. Like, you can't tell me it's God's will when a 5-year-old is being molested
exactly.
or an animal's being tortured. Like, you can't tell me that's God's will. Like, if that is, then I don't want any part of worshiping that God.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, something I knew at 5 years old when I was being raised in a cult. All the horrific things that the Bible teaches that God does is just brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want any part of that because that's not love. That's not something I want to worship.
And
So, I mean, I became disillusioned with the religious concept of God a long time ago.
and the I don't know, the thing that gets me is you go through and you read the Bible and the story of the Bible, and especially in the Old Testament. That is the most graphic book as far as violence and sex. And, I mean, it's loaded, just absolutely loaded.
Brutal.
It is mind boggling. And to think of all the atrocities carried out in the name of a god. I don't get it. Why? Why are you people killing other people in the name of someone that is supposed to be all loving and all forgiving? How do you
Well,
justify
they
that?
put such human negative qualities on God, right? In the Bible, like God's like, do not worship any other gods because I'm a jealous God, and He's always testing you. You know, like go sacrifice your son to show me that you're
Right.
faithful. Go. Oh, I'm going to take everything. I'm going to kill your wives, your kids, your livestock. Do you still love me? Do you
Yeah.
still love me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
The
I
story
don't
of Job. I'm turning your wife into a pillar of salt. Well, great. Now I
like
got a
what.
lifetime worth of salt. There, God, thanks. That's a good one. So, come on,
Yeah, and it's like, do you still love me?
Yeah, you
Like, it
still
feels like
love
a
me.
narcissistic relationship.
Exactly.
No
Exactly.
thanks.
So it's all in, I get it. It's all teaching a lesson. Okay. And I understand that. How much truth is in a lot of those stories in the Bible? I think a lot of it's been exaggerated over several thousand years. Um,
Most likely.
what's that?
Most likely.
Most likely, yeah. I mean, you played post office when you were a kid. You start
Yeah.
tell that first person one thing, and by the time it gets to the 15th person, it's something totally different. How many times has this story been told? How many times has that book been written and written and written and written over and over and over again? Because, oh, well, this can't be a sin because this king thinks it's okay to marry his daughter. So that can't be a sin. So we're going to take that out and we're going to put
Right.
something else in its place. So they'll changed it at will all through history, and that's been documented several times as to how many times that book has been written and changed and redone and retold and told over and over and over again. So there's all kinds of embellishments and stories in there
Yeah.
that you're not buying. There's true stuff. Don't get me wrong, that has been proven by science. There was a great flood. It has been talked about in every civilization in the world, that there was a huge flood. Okay, I got that. That's a proven fact that the ice caps melted, flooded the earth, blah blah blah. Did God do that to get rid of sin? Did God just go,
No,
you know
he was
what?
supposed
I've
to
had enough of
brought
you
the
little fucks.
flood to kill the
You're
Nephilim.
out.
That's what that was about. It was about the angels that came down from heaven who lusted after the women,
Right,
human women, and had babies
right,
and created these giants
right.
called the Nephilim, which were half angel, half human. And that's why the flood happened, was to wipe out this abomination, basically. So, I mean, a lot of people who go to church on Sunday don't probably even know that
No,
story.
and that would be like, okay, let's put on the brakes here. Wait a minute. You're trying to tell me. You're trying to tell me. I'm gonna get my southern preacher again. You're trying to tell me that God, His self, sent down angels from above, and they fornicated with humans. Is that the story you're trying to tell me? Because
Well,
that
if
is
you
an
believe in the
abomination.
Bible, if you believe in the Bible, it's in the Bible.
But I bet you I can find somebody that will interpret that completely differently. Completely differently. I don't, that's it's so two-faced. It's so contradictory because it's like, okay, you're sending angels down here and they're fornicating with humans, yet it's a sin if a human does that with another human.
Well, the story is that like God didn't send them. This is when the big fall in heaven happened, when Satan went against, who was God's chosen angel, actually, went against God over the fact of free will of the humans. And when that all happened, like there were angels that came down and did all that. And this is when the big like fall in heaven and the big divide happened.
So
Because biblically, um, the big rift in heaven was that Satan now, he felt that humans should just do what they're told. And God thought they needed free will.
now, see, I heard it the other way around. When it was taught to me, it was the other way around. God
Okay.
didn't want free will. He wanted worship. He wanted humans to worship him. And Satan wanted to instill free will among the humans. In the first case scenario, Adam and Eve. Okay. God says, do not touch the fruit. Satan says, this apple won't hurt you. Take a bite. So he's instilling free will upon Adam and Eve, who were told by God, don't do that. But they did it of their own free will. And then everything went to shit shortly after that. So.
And then if you go to other teachings, Eve was the second wife of Adam.
That's right.
Because Lilith was his first wife, and she wasn't obedient.
Right.
So she was cast out. And then that's when they made Eve out of Adam's ribs so that she would be more subservient.
Right. So see, folks, we're not bad-mouthing religion because we don't know about it. We do know a little bit about it.
We're bad-mouthing because we do.
We may not be experts. Yeah, but we know a little bit about what we're talking about. But, you can what was I going to say a while ago? Something along the lines of what you were talking about. Oh, I remember what it was. So the Satan and this certain group of angels left heaven or were cast out of heaven.
Yeah.
Because they weren't buying into what God was. But if God is all good, then why would you ever disagree with anything he had to say? Wouldn't you go along with it? Especially if you were created by him?
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Because it's very human qualities. It really is that they've assigned God, which doesn't make sense to me. Like in all this creator divine being having such negative qualities like jealousy.
Right.
And smiting everybody because they don't listen. Like those are negative human qualities. If you ask me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm going to say this. I don't consider myself a bad person. Okay. I try not to do any harm to anybody or anything living or in nature or anything like that. I have the greatest love and respect for everything on this earth. But you're going to tell me that I can't get into heaven no matter how good of a person I am if I don't believe in God? Even though I'm everything that God says you should be, or pretty much everything God says you should be, I try to live to be a good, whole person, a happy person. And I try to spread love to everybody, everybody I meet. So why are you condemning me? Am I bad now? Because I'm a nice guy? That doesn't make sense. Because I don't follow your path to the ever after or whatever. I'm a bad person. I don't buy that. I think once again, you have that control. You have the free will. You've always had free will. Humans have always had free will. It's the church that's telling you free will is wrong. You can't do this. This is against God's will. This is not part of God's plan. What is God's plan? Come on. You know, we've gone through Revelations. All I've heard since I can remember was how the end of the world is tomorrow.
Exactly.
And I'm 70 years old and I ain't seen it yet. You know, how much, you know, crying wolf are you going to do? You're just trying to scare people into believing. That's all you're doing with all that revelation bullshit is just trying to scare them into believing. And you can interpret that part of the Bible 1,000 different ways. You
Yeah.
can read into that whatever you want to because it is so freaking far-fetched that nobody can understand it literally. So they have to make up what's going on, in that point. And it's, oh, it's the end of times. No, it fucking isn't. Give me a break. The end of times comes when you stop breathing. That is your end of time. Period. There's, that's all there is. There's not going to be something to wipe out the world. It's not going to be cataclysmic. It's not going to be the big bang in reverse where we just go and implode on ourselves. Bullshit. None of that's going to happen. You're just going to die. That's your end of time. Period. Everybody's got an allotted amount of time. I'm lucky I made it to where I'm at and still be this good fucking looking,
Exactly.
Exactly. But, the end of times is when you die. Yeah, that's all it is. Come on, quit throwing fairy tales at me to try and scare me into believing in something I don't believe in. So there,
and I think it's like too, if you believe in reincarnation and you've heard about like the wheel of samsara, like the snake eating its tail of the reincarnation wheel, where like part of the reason you meditate and part of the reason you really develop the soul is so that when you do end, that you're not going to go to the light, because the light's the trick to come back here and reincarnate on the wheel of reincarnation, where certain beings on this plane of existence feed off of our energy. So they want us to keep coming back. And part of our goal is to not fall into that.
Yeah.
So that we can escape this.
Well, let me ask you this.
To me, that resonates more deeply with me.
Okay. Well, let's look at this from a different direction. Okay, I'm going to take a left turn here. This is probably one of the most in-depth conversations we've had.
Oh, we spent a whole week talking like this when you came to visit.
Yeah, that was great. It really was. That was a high point of my life right there. It really was. One of them, anyway. I should say I have kids, so they were absolutely my high point. But what if God is a myth? Now, a myth is not false, okay? A myth is a symbolic truth.
Yeah.
So myths aren't lies. They're stories that carry meaning across cultures. So do you think that humans keep creating godlike figures because God is a projection of human needs, of control, of comfort, of justice, etc., etc., etc.? That's another way of looking at it. Because you look at Zeus, Yewa, the Great Spirit, Thor, on and on and on, all gods, but they're all mythological beings. What if the one true God is the same thing? It's just a mythological being to help us get through our day. You think?
Or is us creating gods something on a deep level that our soul remembers being part of? knowing that it's there, knowing that we are part of this energy, this God. So then we recreate it in some manner when we come here
Okay, so it's
because we remember on some level.
so you're looking at God as a symbol of self, of wholeness
Yeah,
in your being.
of being whole. Yeah, that we are, because I believe we're all divine spark of the ultimate being,
Okay.
and we experience separation when we come here. We experience amnesia when we come here, and it's part of experiencing ourself. It's part of experiencing separation because we remember being whole.
Hmm.
And it's part of our soul journey. So it's like if you
Okay.
remember being whole and part of everything and one with everything, and then you suddenly have separation. And are we always looking for wholeness in everything and everyone?
But isn't that the reason you live the life the way that you do? Because that's the reason I live my life the way that I do. I want to feel whole. I want to feel loved. I want to feel part of this, rock zipping through space. Other than I'm not I don't want to be a rider on this rocket ship. I want to be part of the rocket ship.
Exactly.
Okay? That's
Yeah.
my whole right there. Is this planet, this universe, this existence is my reality, my wholeness. This is what makes me feel good is experiencing what's out here. Standing barefoot in the snow the other day while it was coming down on my face was probably one of the greatest feelings I felt since I don't know when. It that literally to me felt like heaven, was falling on me. It really did.
Yeah.
But I felt part of everything just for a minute.
Exactly.
Just for a minute, I felt part of the weather and the earth. And I felt the coldness and I felt the brisk, but inside I was warm. And I felt whole. I grounded myself and it was snowing. It was fucking snowing. My kid's going, what the hell are you doing, Dad? Put your shoes on. And I mean, some people get it, some people don't get it. I know you understand, but it's one of those things
But that
where you have to
when I said
experience.
to you, have you experienced the divine? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Where
And
you feel
exactly, but
whole, where you feel connected to everything
that's
and not
not
separate.
that's not God. That's
No, that's
God.
divine. That's what the divine is,
That's
and
God.
how I interpret it.
Yeah. That's the God is here. It's
Yeah.
it's me. And it's how I experience and how I live my life. And there's some people that don't choose to live their life the way I do, and that's fine. I wish they would. I think the world would be a little bit better place, if people would start just being polite to one another. But they forgot how to do that too. But
Well, and I think that's where religion comes in too, is it separates us. It's so about separation.
it
It's
is
about, well, it's like, I believe this, you don't believe this, so you're bad, I'm good, you're different,
and there
you're
that's
not part of
right.
this,
And
you're gonna die, I'm not.
the lines being drawn, I will live forever in heaven. You will be cast out and burn into hell or walk around in limbo or
Yeah.
whatever it is, where you guys go and play marbles all day. I don't know. And it's just, we will never know. We will never know as far as reality goes if reality is God and if God is a reality. We're never going to know that. Never. I don't care how deep you dig in that book, you are never going to figure that out. That has to come from
Have to come
something
from
a lot
inside.
deeper than pages on a book, which is where in my opinion, 90% of quote unquote religious people get their religious interpretations. And by the way, I don't mean to cast aspersion on anybody, but some of the cruelest people I've ever met have been highly religious people. So, they think, well,
Yep.
God is with me, so I can do no wrong. And that's all they're doing. That's their life is fucking people over, and that all too well.
All too well.
And it's and I have hit that thing more times than I care to remember. And it's like that, that's just another wall that goes up, in front of that religious thing that I can't get into, is because you people treat people like shit. And yet you call yourself holy? Come on. I just, and okay, even if God isn't real, does the idea of God continue to shape our reality? And will it continue to shape our reality?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so it's everywhere, like in society. It's really hard to escape that concept because it's been really built around everything, really.
Yeah.
Society.
Nations, our nation, it's your nation has been built around the concept of God.
Well, it's in our anthems, like God Save the Queen, and you guys have your own version where,
Yeah.
it's there, it's everywhere.
Yeah. So it's so deeply ingrained in our being that it will never go away. It's not going anywhere. It will always be here. But
that's where I think things like deep spiritual practices and meditation, these things really help you get out of this 3D physical reality.
Right.
And then that's when you start to realize that there's so much more than the physical, that this is really limiting. Our physical body and this reality is very limiting.
Yeah.
And then you realize how much bigger we actually are.
Right. But yeah, and like I said, this is an argument that will go on forever. Wars have been fought over it. People have died over it, and I just can't find any sense in any of that at all. I can't. I think if people would just try to be kind to one another and sit down and talk to one another, we could solve a hell of a lot of our problems out there. But they don't know how to do it. People just don't. They never have. They really never have. You're going to find good people. Sure, good people are out there. They're everywhere. But I think for the most part, people aren't. They aren't good. They are inherently bad, and they will inherently do bad things.
See, I believe the exact opposite.
Yeah,
I believe people are inherently good.
I've met more bad people than I have good. Put it like that. And it may just have been the crowd I ran with too. So there may be a reason for that.
They get a new crowd.
Yeah, I've since abandoned that crowd and I've moved on to another crowd. Remember me saying that you wouldn't like the person that I was before? There you go.
Yeah. Well, I think part of when we start to really come to a place where we realize that we are all connected and that I see myself in you and I see myself in everything and everyone that surrounds me. It gets really hard to be an asshole. Mm-hmm. Because it's like I'm doing that for myself.
Right. And I mean,
I'm part of everything.
And there's Grant, what was that? Is that you buzzing?
Sorry, my phone rang.
Oh, okay. There's one biblical rule that I live by. And this is what I have gleaned from the Bible, from religion, from Christianity. Treat others how you want to be treated yourself. And I want to be treated kindly by other people. So that's how I treat everybody. It works on 90% of the people I meet. I get that in return. I get kindness in return. And I get remarks like, nobody says thank you and yes, ma'am, or anything like that anymore, but you do, but that's just the person that I am. I say please, I say thank you. I use my manners. I open doors for people. I'll give people a parking space and park out there. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Just be a little bit of kindness goes a long way. And that's how I live my life now is I treat people the way I want to be treated. I don't treat anybody bad ever, ever. If I treat
Well,
somebody
that's
bad,
the
then we have a problem because I just don't. It doesn't give me any
well,
satisfaction at all. None.
well they say in the Bible, like, do unto others as you will have done unto you, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the actions are not about that. It's like treat others, unless they're this religion, or unless they're come from this sexual orientation, or unless they have a belief that's different than
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
Then treat
Exactly.
them badly.
Exactly. Exactly. You can't be nice to this person because they're gay.
Yeah.
The fuck's that mean? I don't care. I could care less. They're a nice person. I like them. I don't care what their sexual orientation is. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
It's just you know I I don't know. I don't know. It could go on. It could go on and on and on and on and on. We're just about out of time though, Tonya. Thank you so much for hanging in there and this interesting conversation. I really enjoyed this.
I feel
Um,
like this topic was less about what is God as opposed to spirit, God versus religion.
could be. Could be. I mean, there's so many different angles that you can. You just looked funny. You went.
My lights just
Did your
my
light
light
burn out?
just went up.
Okay. But I mean, the in closing, and I'll let you go. I just, if God is real, and we may never fully understand it, but if God is a myth, it might be probably the most powerful one that we've ever created. So you have to, you look at it like that also. But you choose to believe however you want to believe, however, and whatever makes you happy. That's the course you have to go down. Don't base decisions on anything I've said. These are my personal opinions, just like those are Tanya's personal opinions. And our experiences.
Like, speaking for myself, I was raised very religiously. I know the Bible. I know the teachings. So I'm not coming from this from ignorance.
Right.
This is something that I know very well
And
chose not to follow that.
And I think we've proven that, in this show that we're not stupid when it comes to religion or religious beliefs. You and I both have a knowledge of the Christian religion. Understand it. If I wasn't comfortable with the Christian religion and my knowledge of it, I don't think I would even got into this topic.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you, I don't think I would have gone down that road because there's going to be stuff I run into that I can't have an opinion on. Or I don't, I don't know what that means. So you have to, in order to have an educated argument, you have to really know both sides, at least a little bit about both sides.
Yeah.
So You continue to believe as you believe. I will continue to believe as I believe. And you guys out there believe whatever you want to believe. It's up to you. I don't care.
Just
But
don't be a dick.
don't be a dick. Right. That's simple. It's easy. It's easy to do if you live by that one simple rule. Don't be a dick.
That's the title of the podcast.
There it is. Don't be a dick. You know, if we did name it that, we'd probably get 1 billion views. But anyway, Tonya, thank you again so much for being with me, being beautiful and knowledgeable. And I thank you, and I love you to death. I respect everything about you. You're an amazing, amazing lady. And guys, if you're in Nova Scotia, and especially if you're a female, look Tonya up. She has all kinds of feminine wellness. You can tell them better than I can because I'm on the wrong side of the fence.
Planned in May, the women's retreat. That's going to be amazing. Check it out on my socials.
Right, and you do Reiki, you do spiritual healing, you do just tons. I mean, this is what I mean by the lady's got 17 different jobs. She really does. You know, you go check out her website and look at everything she does. And this lady is just a wealth of knowledge, and you know, her inner self and her inner beauty carries like incredible, you know. I can't wait till I get up. We get to visit again and sit down and talk some more. Those beautiful breakfast talks we had while I was up there.
Yeah, filled my soul.
Absolutely. Well, with that, we will let you go and say good night, everybody. Take care of one another. Please be kind to one another and don't be a dick, like Tonya said. All right. Good night, Tonya.
Good night.
Her laughter is shadow.
Remember, you can reach either Tonya Steinborn or D.E. Riley at thewitchandwiseman@gmail.com. Also, if you prefer to watch our podcasts, you can find us on YouTube or Spotify video at The Witch and the Wiseman.